Thank you. 10:04, calling the meeting to order. And Madam Secretary, you have a quorum. That quorum is good. Excellent. We also, the first order of business is to approve the 2 meeting minutes. I believe all the board members have received those. So if there's any discussions, great. Or motion, we'd love it as well. We got a motion to approve the minutes. And let's take a second. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Excellent. Want to summarize the electronic votes that we took this past month, just a couple. We approved an emergency air conditioner repair for this building. I think that was, the total was about $8,500. So we actually got multiple bids and did it the right way. But the emergency repairs, we approved that, and we also approved this week the Rockwall Hospitality Group contract that we submitted to them, and that contract is actually signed and on their desk. So we assume through the negotiations we got everything right that they're willing to sign up for. So we expect that they'll sign that and send it back within the next few days. So hopefully we'll have everything done and we'll start working on this building in the next few days. Next is management reports, etc. As I said, we did submit that final draft and it's signed, so it's ready to go. If they sign it, we've got a deal. We assume they're going to sign it, that we've worked through all the issues. It's taken a while, but we're ready to go. The cell phone tower discussions, we do have some reluctance on some of the part of some of the board members, so we're going to have another call with the cell phone tower company this coming week, and hopefully we'll get all of our questions answered and get all the the concerns addressed, and either move forward or not. We don't have any decision on that yet. We've also been contacted by a company called Novos Fiber, who tells us that they're getting permits to put fiber in Chandlers Landing, which is kind of exciting to me because I don't like slow internet, But aside from my personal preferences, we have to figure out how would that work, if it would work, etc. So we're going to have a call with them in the next couple of weeks. We're still putting that together, but hopefully, we'll be able to do some nice things for the neighborhood to get fiber installed so that everyone has super fast internet. And I also want to call out Joe Lang, I believe he's here somewhere, for the spectacular fireworks show that we put together.
I just want to thank everybody that bought a raffle ticket, came to Taste and Grill, attended, because not all of you guys, there was the point of the show. And one more thing, look at James Wagner's check for the floor. I just found out he doesn't have it.
I don't write those checks.
That's embarrassing.
Somebody get James's check, please.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Fantastic event, and my understanding is that next year is going to be even better.
Don't give it away.
That's what you told me.
Yeah, it's going to be.
Okay, well that's my report, and next up is Seth Cohen, Treasury report.
Good morning, everyone. So for our treasury report, currently our cash flow, we're about 500,000 in our cash flow. 572,000 to be exact. We have been building that up, and at the same time preparing for some of the repairs that are coming up for these coming quarters. We have a lot of assessments still to collect for this month. As you can see here, for June, we budgeted for 193,000, and we have 121,000 of that. So some collections will be needed there, but overall, we are still kind of within our budget for the year. We're a little low on it, but we overall, some of that's with spyglass, and I think we have to adjust there. We did finish all the expenses with spyglass last month, so we're complete there. moving into the expenses. So in our expense category, obviously in our property management, we have not put a lot of money into that through the year, so you can see that there's a big variance. However, when we started looking at, Andre and I started looking at what our capital expenditures are for this year. We don't have a lot of money that we thought we're going to have, so we're going to have money to put in, but probably not as much as we wanted. When we get to the final bottom line for this month, we were showing a net loss of $400,000, and I think there's something missing here because honestly, Andre, I'm not seeing. I just got this last night, and I honestly have not had a chance to review it. So I want to come in here and chime in on this because this is something not right.
I'm left-handed math there.
First of all, I asked the CPAs to do the annual adjustments from the audit, and I wanted to have it reflected in June. I believe what they did, and I haven't had a chance to verify this, is I think they put all of the adjustments in the month of June, which is not appropriate. Some of that should have been offset for accrued expenses and such back in December. And that's also why I think these statements should not be approved until I have a chance to really go through them and verify where she put the CPA and in which period she put the CPA adjustments. Because the balance sheet and income statements that I was working on earlier in the week are different from these. I just noticed them this morning because I just got them late last night. But I believe that's the problem. So, aside from the cash isn't going to change, but some of these expenses, and certainly the income and the adjustments that we made for the spyglass, the net group cleared out the spyglass accounts receivable. So I think there's several problems with this financial that was sent out to the board, and it hasn't been fully vetted. So I'd like to table further discussion on this because I believe there are several edits that need to be made.
I'm looking at this, something's off to me too, because if it wasn't this, and again, I apologize everyone, we got this yesterday, and late, so we'll just have to table the financials for June for now.
Part of the reason for the lateness is Mac Group had an ERP change internally. They went from C3, which is the software that we currently use, and they're letting us stay on that, to a new software for all of their other managed associations called Sync. And they were supposed to have it online April 1st. They were having problems, and they went ahead on July 1st and did that. And because of that, they're having problems with quite a few things. The reason why they were late in getting this to us, I had asked several times for the top accountant to get our CPA adjustments done in the last few weeks. And earlier this week, I asked again, and I think they just rushed it through, to be honest. Normally, she would call me, and we would discuss which period I wanted in and come to a consensus of where things should be and which ones should be adjusted and which ones had already maybe been adjusted earlier in the year. And that's part of the reason why we're not as tight and buttoned up here to this today. I really wanted to have a nice, clean second quarter statement for everybody, but I can see we didn't get that. Apologies for that.
All right, we're moving on then to the maintenance.
We're going to skip maintenance today, and we're going to move on to security.
Wait. All right, good morning. There has been a change in our head of security. Her name is Brittany Collins. We wish Ryan well. He went to take a job closer to his home. And you may also notice Alejandro. Alejandro was our security person that we brought in extra during the 4th of July weekend. He was at the gate at the pool. So welcome him aboard as well. He'll be on full time. So we've got some really nice officers there. Again, we had a fantastic 4th of July show. Many of you do not know that Greg is the liaison for the fireworks and with Joe, and they did a fantastic job. So thank you, Greg, for making all that go so smoothly, and checks written and cut. And it takes those two guys to make sure that we get the fireworks paid timely and that we have the extra security we need. So thank you so much. And, and then we had a fantastic pool party. I went right to events, by the way, because there's not much on security. The band was fantastic at the pool. Judge threw an open resident little birthday party for his 87th birthday with free pizza and drinks. Great fireworks show again, and then we had the 50th, which was fantastic. So Julie, thank you so much for being the liaison of the 50th. You did a great job, so thank you. She donated extra drinks to the kids events that are coming up that were left over, like soft drinks. We have a concert tonight, 6 to 9 at the big pool. And then on Saturday, August the 10th, we have a back to school pool party from 2 to 6. The events team will let you know about the Labor Day plans. It hasn't been posted yet, but we'll have that posted this month.
There's a pool party tonight.
Round table, Tuesday, we had a pretty good round table. We had, I think, about 22 in attendance. We'll be having the last one of July. Week after Tuesday, I think that's the 30th. The main topic was this facility here in the last Tuesday meeting. We do have an upcoming election. Anyone interested in that, I would encourage you. Now is the time to start becoming active in the community, or maybe get an idea of what's going on with finances, what's going on with the challenges in the neighborhood. I keep beating on erosion control because that's a major issue we have here that's causing erosion in the streets. So anyway, that's all.
Okay, I'm doing a 50th report. Really what we'd like for everyone to see is our new sign that we had our donations went to. We're going to have it mounted on the front of the building and have indirect lighting that can be changed for color, like red at Christmas, blue in summer, whatever. But we were all proud of it. We think it was really great. Thank you for the design.
Donate to Evan.
Moving right along. We have no old business to deal with. We have some new business here. The first item is approving the updated fines policy. Our attorneys notified us that we didn't have a current fines policy in place, registered with the county or whatever. I'm not sure exactly what the particulars are there. We need to approve the new fining policy. So I'll be careful because this thing, we're gonna find people by golly. Anyway, so do we have any discussion about the fines policy? Yeah. Okay. All right. I thought we sent that out.
It's in the back.
Yeah, it's in the packet. Did we not send that out ahead of time to the board? No. So. It's legally required, but if we need time to review, then we can table it, if you like that.
Can I ask who set the finding amounts, and are they changes from previous?
We just took the fine policy when the previous board updated all the policy and sent that to Grant.
So the attorney sent us this as this is the
Right.
approved policy from the attorney's perspective anyway.
Which, right, is, per the state property code to amend.
Right, so it complies with the property code. So the question is, well, why don't we go ahead and table it since we do have some questions and we'll consider this. I mean, this is something that we can approve in an email as well. So we don't have to do it in an open meeting. We can do So let's go ahead and table that.
Great, what type of policy we could not hear you?
The fines policy.
How do you
Just
spell that?
Different
fine, yeah, fine, like how much you get charged for your garbage can, or parking, or,
Because we need more money to do nothing.
All right, so that's been tabled. The last thing on the agenda is a tennis drainage discussion. And we've been contacted by the tennis group that actually pays us a monthly fee to use the tennis courts. And they would like us to do some repair work around tennis courts 6 and 7. Because in a large rain event, sometimes water will work its way under the tennis courts and bubble up on tennis court 6 and 7. And they've gotten some estimates for the repair work. And in my opinion, we need to have a discussion here, but in my opinion, this isn't an emergency. This isn't something we need to spend money on right now. We're in the hottest, driest part of the year, and it only happens when it's a big rain event. So from my perspective, this is something we can put off until later. We don't need to start spending the money right now, but we probably should have a discussion. So any other board members that want to weigh in on that, please do.
Well, not off the road.
I'm not offer the tennis committee has offered to front the money and credit it back at $1,000 a month against their rents. So I just want to make that, we've got 3 bids, $39,000 bid, a $24,000 bid, and a $20,000 bid, or approximately. So we could, if I understand this, Al, correct me if I'm wrong, we could get the work done and it only costs us rent credit. I wanted to make that clear.
Yeah, it's not, we're not spending the cash. They're asking for rent reduction as we go forward. So, again, it's still, we're, especially considering in the contract that we have for this building that we've submitted, we're not getting any income from the restaurant for 6 months. It's 0 for 6 months. So that.
What we had for a year. Who's that? Come on.
Well, we can explain why. It doesn't, because they're going to redo the kitchen basically. So we're giving them credit to redo the kitchen. But my point being that there's not revenue to replace the revenue we'd be giving away. It's only $1,000 a month, I get that, but it's not an emergency expense. It's not something I think that we need to do right away. It's still, in fact, the submission, what was submitted to the board by the tennis committee, they said it doesn't affect playability. Well, if it doesn't affect playability and it's the hottest, driest part of the year, it's not necessary to do something right away. So that's where I'm coming from. So.
But you might want to do it while it's dry.
Yeah.
And get
As far as,
that's just my point.
if the water's underneath.
I mean, if we can really
If they
budget,
could possibly get the top.
if treasurer think that we can budget for 1,000, I would go with this one and get it done. Why not?
Should we let maybe the tennis committee representative here weigh in on that?
If you let him talk, if the other people talk.
As part of the meeting? Or wait until the question and answer session? You want to talk about it now? I mean, from y'all's perspective?
It's better to do that moving forward. This is the board meeting.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, this is just a board meeting.
This
is just a board
We're
meeting.
going to go into the question and answer?
We sure we can.
Okay, let's do that then.
Just adjourn.
Okay, well, I guess you want to announce it? We're going into the question and answer.
Make the motion.
I make the motion, we adjourn.
Audrey has something to say. Hold on now.
First of all, I think I heard 3 bids, I only see 2, and I missed, I think.
Yeah, you're missing one, so I've got 3 here.
Okay.
Which ones do you have? You have 20, 24, 39? 39 is Williams. It's on there.
All right, now,
See if
If they're going to get something, I can watch it. That is wrong.
Okay, well, regardless, I believe we should table this. I would like to hear what Al has to say. I would like to hear what Al has to say today to help me sort of start absorbing what we're talking about. I think we should table it.
You adjourn officially.
I sent all the board members an email a couple days ago, where we're at with our current budget for capital major expenses, what has been coming in, for example, reinforcing the structure of the patio out here, the effect of the storm trees, cleanup, and a lot of other things. It is, I don't want to say it's eroded, but it's had an effect on some of the cash that we had budgeted for major expenses. This obviously is a new thing also. So before we talk about this in particular, I think the board needs to discuss all of these things that have come in, try to figure out whether or not we continue putting the money that has been earmarked for reserves into reserves. I've gotten some guidance from a couple of PCMs because I didn't fully understand the accounting of how reserves and HOA operating funds work, so I got a little educated on that recently. And I think we really need to all understand that, how it works for our tax returns and everything else. I can't even say that I'm fully educated. I need more, I get information and I have more questions, and I'm not getting all my questions answered. But I would like to make sure that everyone on the board is aware of all of these new expenses or potential pending. And we need to prioritize before we, I think, make this decision. But certainly, Al, I would like to get a little bit more perspective on this from you.
Well, again, same thing, we had a meeting 2 weeks ago, and we talked about the prioritizing for the patio and some of the other things that we need to deal with, so I do agree with Andrea. Now, we also have, as Rick mentioned, the tennis is gonna pay for some of this as well, so that's another, point that we gotta bring up, so, I definitely think we need to all get together and go over the priorities of what we need to adjust for, because when we were going through the cash and going through the capital expenditures and what we need to deal with, we really need to deal with the things that are could be a liability and could be an issue right first. So that's I'm on board with all of this.
So it sounds like the idea here is that we'd like to table discussion and delve into it further.
As far as the board opens, then we can still have things.
Yeah, and as far as the forum, have them come present with tennis committees. Okay, that's our vision. Okay. Well, so if we have a motion to adjourn, we can move into the forum and have Al tell us all about the drainage. Seth moves to adjourn the meeting. We have a second. Second. And under seconds, and all in favor. That's good. The meeting is adjourned, and we'll go straight into the forum. And Al, you're up.
Thank you. I'm not used to doing this, so bear with me. My name is Al Bagger. I live at 632 Courageous Drive, a couple houses over. Play tennis. I'm on the tennis board. Just recently got on the tennis board. The HOA and Chandlers Landing Tennis have a contract whereby the HOA leases the tennis courts to us. The contract is good through 2028, I believe, and we want to be good neighbors with you guys. We pay $5,000 a month to use these tennis courts. We are responsible for the inside of the tennis courts. As right now, I don't know how many of us are doing it, but we are replacing the windscreens around the HOA courts, which really aren't even in the lease agreement. And we've spent $9,000 currently, or recently, on replacing those windscreens that have to be replaced, and we're in the process of doing it. So anyway, the lease agreement, as I said, y'all are responsible for the environment around the tennis courts. And the current environment, although it's not raining now, when it does rain, water collects on the north side of court 7, which is kind of the northernmost up the hill tennis court. That water, because there was so much of it, gradually has seeped underneath the tennis court, causing, and the surface of the court over time does develop some minor crackage. But when that water gets under there, the water comes up on the tennis court and causes more damage. And as long as those tennis courts are playable, we're paying you for the uses of it. If the tennis courts becomes unplayable, we don't have to pay, which we don't. We want to pay. We want to keep the courts in playable condition, good condition, and we're doing our best to do that. About a month ago, we got the first company to come out here, and they said, first of all, before that even, a year ago roughly, give or take, we paid $7,900 to an engineering firm to tell us why this is happening, why the water is damaging the courts, and we wanted to know for sure that there was no underground springs providing the water. And so there was none. And so the obvious conclusion is that the water, when it collects around the court, seeps under, and that's where the water's coming from. So their fix for that was to prepare, dig, whatever, provide a French drain around the perimeter of the courts on the north and east side so that the water can be redirected from there down to the ditch and down over here. So we got a bid for doing just that, and it was a lot of money, $29,000. And so we got a second bid, and it was less. It was $24,000. And it's what it is it's called not really a French drain, but a lateral drain. There's a corrugated pipe buried about 3 to 5 feet under the surface. That's in a sleeve that doesn't allow water trash to get in, dirt to get in and stop it up. And then it's covered with rock. And the rock allows the water to seep down into the drain and be carried out. So according to the engineer, that's a 90 to 95% chance of fixing the problem. And so we got one bid, $39,000, and then we got a second bid, $24,000, and then recently we got a bid from a company who is well insured and has indicated that they do this run-of-the-mill routinely and in a much larger situation than what we have here. So in other words, and Rick and I and others are convinced that they can do it. And as it turns out, Rick is the one who got the bid. And, we don't care who fixes it. We just want it fixed. And so before even Rick got the bid, we made a proposal in writing to the board. I sent it to you guys, suggesting or indicating that the tennis group is willing to pay for the $24,000 repair in exchange for us getting a $1,000 a month reduction in our lease rent. And that is what I want before the board. And the reason we want it fixed now is, summertime, it doesn't rain that much, and you have access to the repairs. And in the fall, though, the tennis community gears up. We have various TCD, USTA, whatever leagues that play out here, and we need to have the courts fixed by then, because they're not getting better, they're getting worse. There's dead spots in the court. You run around over the ball. Oh, you think it's going to bounce up, and it doesn't. And so, it is playable, but it can be considered difficult in some cases. So anyway, if you guys table this, that's gonna be another damn month before anything happens. And,
6 months.
we are in the process of getting bids to resurface these courts, but obviously we want it fixed before we resurface it. And although the repairs shouldn't take long, they can't happen overnight, and the longer this is put off, the longer we run amok of, the leads coming up and so forth. So, any questions?
Yes. How long does the repair take approximately? A week, 10 days?
About a week, give or, anywhere from a week.
My recollection of the proposal for the payout is for $1,000 a month until whichever proposal we choose. So with that, again, I'm sorry if I missed it. You hearing aid something. What is the third bid?
The third bid is roughly $19,957. Yeah, this is the last, the third bid, $19,987.
This is the lowest bid?
That's the lowest bid.
Okay. And there's an additional 9,000?
No,
Okay.
no, we're gonna pay half of it to get them started, and then half of it when it's finished. And in return, we want the board to allow us to pay $1,000 less per month until it's paid off. Well, the last lowest estimate, why not, it's, we have confidence that they can fix it, so why would we want to pay more?
So I'm just, in the original proposal was $1,000. It was $1,000 until, the 40,000. So I'm assuming you're gonna change it, edit it for whatever this is, we're only gonna discount for that number of months to cover.
Well, I think you're looking, are she looking at?
Is the money not going towards the payment? Or just having you guys until we pay the back? That's not
This is the one, not current. Here,
I don't
So the idea is it's $1,000 a month until whichever bid we choose is paid off.
yeah, and why wouldn't we take one that's the lowest?
Choose the lowest bid, that's the idea.
We anticipated you guys saying, well, we only got one bid, we need 3 more, we need 5 more, whatever. And how much is insurance
So,
going
and to be honest, these aren't bids. Here's how much it's gonna cost. I've only seen one actual bid.
Well, this is, and we don't have it in writing yet, but Rick is familiar with the company and has indicated to me that he is, has a lot of confidence in their ability to do this.
And that's good information. I'm just saying, these aren't bids, right? These are just bills, basically. These are just invoices.
Well, this is a bid.
I've seen one bid,
And there
it was pretty
should be another one in there.
There's another bid somewhere.
Yeah, it's in my paperwork.
So yeah, and tabling doesn't mean it's another one. Tabling means we can vote on this at any time. We just don't have it.
Can we reconvene the meeting right now and vote on it?
No, we can't. But
So,
the
well,
meeting's been adjourned. You can't reconvene the meeting.
two things here, everyone. So, one, the meeting's adjourned. Two, we haven't seen 3 official bids. It's not that we're saying no. It's just that, as a board, we have to see 3 official bids. And everyone, please listen up. We can always take an e-vote next Tuesday. We can always convene anytime. So,
As long as we have the information.
we don't want to waste everyone's time. We'll just get the three bids for all the board appropriate. All I'm saying is, right now, we don't have it properly presented. So since it's not properly presented, we can't move forward. And it was not properly presented with 3 bids.
Let me offer this up. Al,
let me offer,
You can yell all you want, man, but it's
is this something,
this is one bid.
is this something the tennis committee or go ahead and do? And reduce the rent by $1,000 under another bid or board vote? Does that make sense? They contract it. We can't, or would we allow them as a tenant to do their own upkeep on that court, and then we credit them $1,000 a month until they're made whole? That's fine.
Well, the point being that in order for us to approve a reduction in that rent, we need to see the 3 bids that have been presented so that we can make an informed decision. That's what we're supposed to do as a board, right?
There is or are 2 bids in this paperwork. And I can look at my paperwork out in the room to see, I didn't bring it in here because I have much crowd carry. So there are 2 legitimate bids, and we believe the 3rd bid is illegitimate, even though it is verbal at this point in time.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's fair. I mean, I'm just saying that the way the board has to do business is we need to see the bids in order to make that decision. And we can make that decision at any point. This doesn't require an open meeting to make a decision to approve that contract or whatever.
Okay.
Regulation or
You
whatever.
got the information, and you'll have the 3rd bid in writing.
Right. I've only seen 1 bid. That's what I'm trying to say. I've seen this Williamson bid. I've seen the Williamson bid, and I haven't seen the other 2. These are just basically, here's how much it costs. There's no bid, right?
I'll be back.
Okay.
And this is
It's for Al.
Nancy.
So I like,
She's a former tennis player and a good
Microphone.
president. She has this place in her heart.
Former, I love that word, former tennis player. Anyway, I played on tennis courts with the cracks on it, and those same courts, 6 and 7, and I was so afraid I was going to fall. We have all these people coming, as he said, GCT, USTA, we have all these matches, we have people from out of town. There's a liability here, and we need to take note of that and get this thing fixed as soon as possible.
Word.
Anyway, I have a couple of other things. The 50th anniversary celebration was amazing. Sorry that some of you on the board had to miss it. And I want to thank all these people right here. Raise your hand if you helped out or attended this fantastic thing. I mean, I remember seeing the Welshes there working their butts off, and Sue here coming every day, and Evan and Mark and the committees and especially the Maliks, and I don't think they're here today, but they were, so many people, and it was a wonderful way to let people know all around Dallas what a great place this is and how to preserve our legacy. So, and Julie, all the time and her committee. Some of you that were here didn't see. I mean, I was so proud to live here, and we have a great place, and we want to continue to be proud of our board and of our yacht club, and hallelujah for you for finally getting this contract to go through. So we appreciate that, and wondering as far as a timeline. I know they have to sign it, but you're saying they're not going to pay us anything for 6 months with the kitchen and all that. So could you please share some more details about that?
Well, there's not very many we can share until it's executed contract, but I'll let Seth up.
Yeah, so the contract has been going back and forth between CLCA, our lawyers, and RH Group and their lawyers. So it does take time. So Each time we presented it, it's probably taken them a week or more to get their lawyers to go through it and get it back to us. So one of the things that we negotiated in the beginning of the contract is that who was going to fix the kitchen. And as Lise and I know, being in the restaurant industry, the restaurant wants to do the kitchen the way they want to do it. They're going to come in and fix it the way they want to. They're going to move things around, fix up the burners and everything and the style. So what we negotiated was that since Rick had gone with James Wagner and seen that it was going to be around $49,000 for the repairs, we negotiated to give them the first 6 months rent free since it was originally one of the things that we did. They wanted, our age group wanted to do, is they wanted to only pay us $10,000 in rent the first 6 months. So that's, we negotiated to say we'll give you the first month's, first 6 months rent free. Y'all take the kitchen and do whatever you want to it. There's also some repairs over here in the bar they have to fix. There's some other repairs that they're going to put money into fixing. So potentially over $100,000 or more that they're going to put into our kitchen and facility. So for the 6 months of rent, we said that would be a good negotiation point to give them the free rent. So that's why the first 6 months rent will be no rent. Then they will start paying us their rent after that point. So we're not going to get into all the details, but then we would start moving forward with a payment to CLCA.
And the structure of the contract is an initial term of 5 years with 2 5-year option periods after. So that would potentially be a 15-year deal, but it's 5 years at a time, basically.
So, what do they rent? Okay, can I? What do they rent?
Yeah, we'd like to know, like, what part of the building are they renting?
Like, what do residents?
So we don't have our amenities.
You don't have any amenity anymore for
I was going to
residents?
answer that question.
Can you clear?
Yeah.
Julie, I can answer that question.
I was gonna say
For 5 years.
that we are granted to not pay rent in order to have something fixed. Isn't that exactly what the tenants people are saying?
No.
Yeah, they're saying they won't pay the full rent and they'll go ahead and fix something. It's the same difference.
Yeah, it's not the same deal, but yeah.
And you only got one day where you're from the kitchen.
And no one on board has said no. As Seth pointed out.
Did you get 3 days on the kitchen? 3 days on the kitchen? But you base the rent off of what Rick got.
No, Virginia, they're going to put way more than over 100,000 way more than what.
Just
we
because
did.
of the
To answer your question though, as far as the rooms, we want to get back to your question about the rooms. So in the contract, we have negotiated with them that CLCA events will always, we will be able to always be able to schedule our events here, so meetings and CLCA events. So we will be able to say, okay, we're doing something on St. Patty's Day and no charge for us. And we can come in here and use the facility, whichever room we want. Obviously, they have a wedding that they're doing. We're going to have a schedule. One of the negotiations is that they have to give us their schedule every month of all their rentals that they have, any events, so that we know if they have any weddings that are coming up or whatnot, or birthdays or whatever, so that we also, as a CLCA committee, can give them our annual events. And our annual events will then take precedence. For example, like the 4th of July event, all those events we will have.
What about the side room? I thought we were
port
keeping
side
the port side.
Yeah, and again, they're gonna work with us, basically. Our age group is gonna work with us and all this stuff, but CLCA has the ability to take whatever we want, when we want, as long as we're giving them advanced.
So, but you're saying for 5 years, because this board balked about 5 years, for 5 years, you had given us, you've given the entire building. You didn't leave us one resident space, like the lounge or the side area where, that's ours.
That is our place. That is our lounge. That is our community amenity.
But
For
it's a
five,
restaurant.
for 5 years.
So you have a question?
My question is, when you're looking at the long-term vision of the community and where our financials are, not just today, but 5 years from now, you would be holding our entire community to a Rockwall Hospitality Group, the entire building for 5 years. You didn't give us a space, a community space?
This is our community space, and we get to use this community space when we need it, when we want it. Okay, so if we want to have the St. Patty's Day party or October, Halloween, or whatever we want to do, it is still our space, and our group will accommodate us to be able to come in and use that space.
Let me clarify. We went through a lot of hoops to try and get this building back into our ownership after it had not been in our ownership for decades. And so there's a huge concern on the fact that now it is, while we own it, now we still don't really have the full control of it. If that's what you guys want, that's fine, and it's 5 years. But it seems to me that we continue to operate from a position of financial weakness, which backs us into a corner, which makes us have to do these little things instead of being able to have the finances to take care of the kitchen ourselves or to take care of the tennis courts and to proactively do it instead of reactively. We keep going down this path. This is what you guys are doing. You know, we elected you. So, but it's really frustrating to feel like we don't have I'm sorry, I'm talking right now. That we don't have access to what is supposed to be the hub. We had the 50th in here, it was great. But Dick Seltzer nailed it on the head. He's like, this is a place where it's supposed to feel like we're on vacation. And honestly, over the last year, it hasn't felt like that because we're not investing in much of anything. And you guys are, I'm not trying to be too harsh here, but you spend a lot of time fighting each other and apparently not being prepared for things like today. This meeting today was a joke. And I'm sorry to say that, but I hope everyone else has seen this. We need better from our leaders in the community, okay? And we have concerns over this community amenity. As soon as we get it in our grasp, a group of people takes it away. So
For a whole year.
Well, for 5, yes, and there's been nothing for a year. So
Now remember, we're going to be the landlord here, okay? So we get to control them.
per the lease.
Yes, per the lease, and that's why we have structured this lease so that they understand that this is still our building. The tennis courts and the pools still get to go down and use the bathrooms when the restaurants close. That we still have this building as ours. Okay,
5 years is half of a decade.
They don't even need the lounge. Why do they need the lounge? Why do they need the downstairs? A restaurant is that area and the kitchen.
Virginia, we're trying to make them successful, okay? Who's gonna come in here, you're gonna tie them hands behind their back right when they come in? And say, oh, you can only use this patio right here, but you can't use this ball.
I'm not saying you can't use downstairs. I don't understand why you gave me downstairs.
We cannot tie, and I told the board that as well when we started this, we cannot tie their hands. We're trying to be a partner here with them, a partner and kind of a landlord. In order to do that, we have to let them have this building and run it. And it still be ours so that we can hold our race week, we can hold the St. Patty's Day, we can hold our 50th anniversary, we can hold our 4th of July parties, we can hold all that stuff and not pay a penny, because that was the whole point, that this is our building. We're not going to rent this place for ourselves.
I appreciate what you said. Seth, I appreciate what you're saying. I appreciate what you're saying, but it's a shell of what it's supposed to be for the community.
Well, what's the timeline on that? You haven't said that on the timeline.
Yeah, she's had her hand for a while.
Do not shush me. Do not shush me.
Hey, you know what? You got this board in place, and they suck.
Oh. First of all, we have been given a gift beyond our wildest dreams in having this hospitality group want to take this on and be as patient as they've been and working with us. If a small group of people here want to feel like they have to have a personal spot for a day, for a week, for a month, then rent it like everybody else. Otherwise, the whole thing belongs to all of us. We all have access to it. We don't need to have a private space down here. We own homes here. Those are our private spaces. If you want to come down there, you can. I'm just found out because you know what?
You don't understand.
That is to the exclusion of every good thing that we have come up with.
You don't understand what.
Or not talking now.
You don't understand.
I'm talking now. I'm talking.
But you were talking, you started
Okay, guys, hey, we gotta not argue, we're gonna ask
You don't understand what
questions here.
Chandlers is.
So we'll have to adjourn everything, right? So let's keep it civil, and let's just all communicate as a community, we're all neighbors.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so first of all, let's all take a breath because we're getting upset, okay? And we have a right to be upset, we have concerns that need to be addressed, but we're just getting a little bit too wound up, which is not going to benefit anybody, all right? So, my question is, a couple of things. So, you know, there's this side, you know, and what really is, you know, going to be the navigable direction comes from the middle, always. Does that make sense? I don't even know. Pilates. We have had an instructor for quite a few years now teaching us Pilates, yoga, swim. We have come up with nothing but opposition to those things. Most of the people that are engaged in these events are residents. We were even chastised for bringing our packed lunches down to the pool after a swim class a few weeks ago. Security was called, the manager of the security office was there, a maintenance man, and we were descended upon and accused of throwing a party, and all we were was a bunch of gals, you were there, bunch of gals bringing their packed lunches and having their lunches together. What in the living hell is that all about? Right? Disgusting.
I never heard anything about it.
Well, you're hearing it now, you know. And so then also the Pilates. The group of women, you know, we started out down in the downstairs room, not doing anybody any harm, thoroughly enjoying it. It was something of, you know, wellness and fitness and camaraderie between the women of Chandlers Landing. Okay, next thing you know, we've been thrown out. So then you sit there and you tell us, you know, verbally, oh yeah, you know, this is your amenity. This is what you're paying for. You guys are going to be able to come, use it. I've got 2 examples where we very nearly didn't have swimming this year because it was held up by some bullshit, I don't know what, and then come to find out no more Pilates. We pay money for these facilities. These are our amenities to an extent. Now I get the whole thing about you renting this space to the restaurant. There has to be some respect there as far as what we've promised them and what we need to do as far as, you know, coordinating events. That's important. But I'm really annoyed about what's transpired lately with our fitness group.
I have a question about the little lunch thing. Is that in the pool area?
Yes.
Okay. We can look at that. And then the Pilates, you want to respond?
And those are the things I was talking about, by the way, is things like that for our community.
The whole question about the Pilates, or not Pilates, actually, the pool Pilates, what is that called? The pool aerobics, right. Is that what you're talking about, pool aerobics? Yeah. That was basically driven by a concern about renting an amenity to an outside party, to somebody that doesn't live here. So that was kind of a legal question. Yeah, that was a legal question.
Renting our amenity to an outside party
to an outside party
Right.
is a concern.
Yeah.
What is Rockwall Hospitality Group? They're an outside party.
That's correct. And it's all, that has passed all the legal, hold on, that has, this building, it's not leased, it's a management agreement, so it has passed all the legal hurdles to get to this point where we have a contract signed. Now, if you recall, the water aerobics was also approved, so I don't know why people are, what the problem is here. It is the same idea. The reason that was kind of, the lawyer said, well, it's probably okay because it had never been challenged in all the years that it had been going on, and so there wouldn't be a legal basis for being able to say you can't rent that amenity. So that's why the board said, yeah, okay, fine, we approve. But we just needed to go through that discussion with our lawyer. It's, our lawyer is the one telling us, be careful about how you deal with your amenities. There are laws that come in, there's bylaws, the property code, etc. But I guess I don't understand if that there's some sort of objection that it got approved and we're doing it. So I'm
No, he's not talking about water.
yeah, but it got approved and that amenity is still there and that those classes are. No, it's because it's not because we were fit. We looked into it and we went through the process of talking to our lawyer and approved it.
Thank you. Sorry, you can sit there and you can excuse it as much as you want. We know,
I love how the residents think they know different when we actually as a board are communicating through emails and through text on a regular basis.
You showed today, you're not communicating well. Your meeting today showed that.
You communicate so well. It's evident with your display today as far from the table, this matter, that matter, that matter. Communicating on your head.
We got more questions in the back.
Okay, question back.
I'm sorry, but I have
Okay.
Really?
So the idea is that.
Hey, everyone, you need to have respect for everyone up here. I mean, this is childish, honestly. Okay, and for me to sit up here and watching some of this is
it sucks.
It does suck, Evan, and I know you warned me about this. Okay, so if y'all want us to continue to work together, you have to let us work together, and you can't be complaining all the time and trying to put us down that we're not doing what we're doing because we are. There must have been like 75 texts in the last 2 days back and forth. Okay, so there is so much going back and forth between emails and texts, and we are all working up here. So please,
Okay, I'm not
show some respect.
communication respect. I have hello. I have a question, and that everybody here knows more about business than I do. But I know what a good tenant is and a bad tenant is. And so, as a member of the community, when you're bringing a tenant into this building for 5 years, my concern is: are they going to be a good tenant? Are they going to be a bad tenant? And how do you really define that? And what you said earlier was if they have a wedding down here. And so I was at some meeting earlier during the week, and different people have different ideas. Is it a sports bar? How's this place going to be? How do we want it to be? What does this company do? And I was thinking about most people in the community would like to see this as a wedding venue that gets used. Okay, because that means it's an attractive place where people want to start their life.
It was. We made good money.
And
$750,000 million.
So I think most of the community would be happy if there was a wedding every week. So the request is, and it sounds like they're happy with that too, because it's profitable. The request is, as the landlord or the zoning board, can you put a 30 weddings per year clause in the land use department? Okay.
As a restaurant, I mean, they're going to try to fill with what events they can, and as an event coordinator, you would go to, right? You're going to try to fill it with what you can. You're not going to just focus on only weddings and
You're going to reach out to all
Yeah, I'm just suggesting an intent clause as opposed to an obligation.
I mean, we have in the clause that they should be
doing banquets and events. So, the banquet event, you can't say
Because last year we lost a lot
wedding
of money
events.
because we didn't print it.
Well, just that.
They brought us $750,000 worth of events in 2020.
Their pricing was better than no pricing. But we didn't have
As far as like the
To your
air
mouth.
conditioner.
Hold it close to your mouth.
Air conditioner we repaired now, in the lease, will they be responsible for those? And when will they start taking over the utilities, which will, those type things, which will help us? You'll answer that in a second, but security, I hope, well, I don't know, the people I've seen just recently up here now, you can't get a smile or a much of a wave or any kind of look out of their face other than, duh, you're going by.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of times too, used to, when a tenant or we were going in, a resident going in, you got priority over them swapping that gate open over here and everybody's running over you. I'd like to see that again, that they don't even have that much sense that they know that two gates are open at one time. And there's not room for that.
And they should wave and smile. It's like gone
Yeah,
away.
they're-
I agree.
So frustrating.
Two questions there. The first question is yes.
Can I go back one for just a minute, back to the Pilates thing? Melissa was in charge of Pilates, and I was trying to rent out rooms to residents. We probably did not communicate well enough for her and I to know that she wanted to use a room, but I didn't know she wanted to use a room. So y'all got pushed around, I agree, but Melissa and I probably should have talked more, because there's a huge restaurant room right in there. Y'all could have just moved the tables aside and used it every time. But her and I didn't talk enough, so I apologize for that. Because it was not intentional, it was just both of us being way too busy and trying to get things, other things done too. So I do apologize about that. About the pool thing, everybody in this community brings their food and drinks up here to eat and drink and swim. So it's the same difference. You can have lunch anytime you want to at that pool.
We're gonna look at that, because
I think everybody can bring their own lunch.
Yes.
You just have to have your- And they're allowed to sit at the same table, but they're not.
I was there with what Sue was talking about. It was just so awkward and in your face, and you know, 4 people coming down, and what's going on, and it's tornado, you know, and all I had to do was ask, and
Yep.
it was fine.
So you had a question about the HVAC and utilities and everything in here, so I'm going to finish your question real quick. The HVAC, yes, they are responsible for it. All restaurants are usually responsible for all internal, not utilities, equipment, maintenance of equipment. So like they keep grease trap and everything else, they will be responsible for it and have to prove to us and show us maintenance, that they've done the maintenance. Also utilities, they will be prorated on the water and electricity, since tennis courts and the pool do share those. Eventually down the road, hopefully this will pay for us to be able to sub-meter those, so that they will pay for them directly and have this sub-metered. So that's another future goal, is to get this sub-metered. You had any other
Well,
questions?
that at least takes that responsibility off us and frees up some money for us.
Yes, and we've already negotiated with them, about taking the 2 years of utilities, because we have what Kemper was paying for here, and what we have here, so we can do the pro share of 2 things. You had a question, sir?
Good morning, everybody. I'm gonna shift gears a little bit. You guys will probably like that, but I'm curious about the fine. I'm curious about the fine thing you guys were talking about earlier that you guys tabled. Are we going to what does that mean? What does that look like for the residents? My biggest concern is I don't want to turn into an HOA where somebody leaves their trash can out for 1 day. We start doing $50 fine or silly stuff like that. So if someone could just please explain to me what the plan is on that, I appreciate it.
The rules have always been there. I think that we're going through this, clean them up a little bit, add a few more things, maybe even change some prices of what it looks like. So the rules have always been there. Usually the warnings first, right? Before the garbage can out, you get a warning, maybe a second warning.
Really, Kristen can do it better than you. I'm sorry, I have horrible allergies.
Christy could probably go, and Shelley could probably explain it a lot better, but there's a process that has to go through. You're just not gonna get fined right off the bat. You're gonna get a warning, and I'm pretty sure we mail it to you. So there's a process and procedure. I don't think this is anything new to Chandlers, it's just that we're supposed to update it. And we have to put it through an attorney, and we just need to go through it and make sure it looks reasonable to pass it through. It's just business as usual. It's business as usual. We're not trying to go after anyone particularly. I think it's just something as a law we're supposed to update from time to time. Thank you all very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Next.
I'm Jerry. I'm a resident here for about 10 years. But one of the things I came, actually came for a salad.
Close to your mouth.
I feel like I've had a full buffet. What I'm after is that one thing I came to find out is that how much do we have in cash reserves? I heard $572,000 across cash reserve, and that's what pays bills and things that pop up and so forth. I have reached out whenever the storm came through. I don't know if any of you guys were blessed with the storm or not, but what happened behind my house in the green belt that the HOA owns is it toppled about 4 or 5 giant trees, and they have fallen down into the creek.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
On Rocky. And what we have now is just a huge brush pile behind our house. And there's been absolutely nothing done except to come out, and I appreciate the work that was done by the surveyors, because they added another 10 feet on my property line that I didn't know I had. So now I have damage from the HOA common area that damaged trees that I own on my property. But I don't care about that. What I want is to see what is out of this $572,000. I have no idea what it's going to cost, but something needs to be done to reduce those trees down to firewood and get them cleared out. It's a mess. It's ugly. I've got armadillos coming out at me now. I've got all kinds of critters that are coming up out of the creek, and I want something done back there. I feel like that my HOA dues, like everybody else goes up. This year I've spent about $3,000 for HOA dues, and I never have asked for anything. I'm a good tenant. I keep my yard mowed. I take my neighbors' trash cans and put them up for them, and I take care, because I'm retired and I have the time to do that. But I want to make sure that you take care of our immediate needs in the neighborhoods, make sure that we're taken care of, and give me something to know what my investment is in the HOA. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I didn't get your address. I'm sorry, I didn't get your address.
319 Valley Drive.
Okay, so I will tell you when it comes to the green belts, to answer your question, when it comes to the green belts will be addressed. As of this, he's had probably about 45 work orders come through, and he's taking them one by one. We've had a lot of ones. We had to take what was a hazard first, and anything that was a safety issue first. The green belts will come, but we have to prioritize, and he's still having to do his regular routines for the neighborhood on top of taking on this havoc that's come from the storm. So if you could be patient, we are going to get to the green belts at some point, but everybody wants to be done right now. And the thing is, we can't get through the whole green belt, and green belts are hard to work through as it is, but please try to be patient, and they will get to these green belts at some point.
I think I've been patient.
Everyone feels the same way.
There are broken limbs swinging in the breeze up there. I have limbs from the trees in the green belt that are hanging out over my house, over my neighbor's house. These are all potentials. The thing I'm looking at is the future. What happens if one of those tree lands on my house,
Hello, it happens to me.
what am I gonna go through? What kind of process will I ever go through to file and get my house repaired by something that was owned by the Green?
So we had a whole punch through our roof. My deck was destroyed, my little furniture, I woke up to what I put.
I know what you did.
At 7 a.m. in the morning, a massive tree came down on my house. And the guy, these guys were good and everything. It took a while to get some money, but we got the money to do the repairs that we needed. So, I think it's winter time. I mean, right now, I just go down there and paint. It's too reading over, when it's in the winter, but definitely you can see what's going on. But I will say, I hate for it to happen to anybody else, but when it did happen, these guys really did take care of us. So, but it was not nice.
Virginia Madison, 202 Gretel. I have two things. Number one, it's July, and apparently we have a fountain, but it's still not in the pond. And I understand you're telling us Chuck is busy. I quick Google search, there's quite a few pond professionals in the area, and we have cash reserves. I don't understand why we're not hiring a professional to install the fountain pond. I wouldn't want Chuck to install it because of the fact of how much it's broken, and last time this or that. Why are we, the question of the board is, why are we not hiring a professional to install the pond? Number one, a brand new one. And then number two, erosion. We're bringing up, and I get it's a different thing. We've got a lease with tenants and we've got to pay for it. Erosion and drainage. And Evan and I reviewed pretty closely the policies that were put in place for erosion, and we're a very hilly neighborhood. And so the lower lots have to take it from the upper lots. It's that's what it says. And so ourselves, we're gonna have to spend, I don't know, it's probably gonna be about 40 grand to be able to have a front yard again, because we get erosion, waterfall, because Yacht Club goes to the lots and then down thing, and then side yard, right? We get it. We will plan for it. We will do that. And as a neighborhood, you guys said we're going to prioritize what we're doing, right? Well, then we received a letter, July. We have no grass anymore. We've replaced our grass 3 times since we've owned here since 2010 in the front yard. We have no grass anymore. We probably lost about 8 inches of earth this last spring because of just rushing water down everything. We have informed the office of this. They are not informed of it. But we have a board member that is on compliance driving through and had sent us a letter saying we had 14 days in the middle of July to replace our front yard. And we're probably about $40,000 it's going to take for us to address drainage to be able to have any kind of a front yard again.
That can stay rooted.
That can stay rooted because it's just going to wash away because we can't do anything about the Yacht Club. The water's coming off the Yacht Club, it's pouring down to our backyard, waterfall, and Betty's goes into our neighbors who then overflows into ours. And so that's one thing, erosion. Part 2 of erosion and drainage is 105 Thistle, which we've made aware several times, is that the street does not drain correctly. And the street overflows and goes down into Laura Madison's backyard, so much so that during the rain she had gallons of water going into her house. She herself has spent tens of thousands of dollars addressing drainage on her lot, but she can't address the street. And so if we're going to seriously, if we're taking bids for other erosion and we're prioritizing, then we need to have a way to prioritize other issues within the neighborhood, in my opinion. Because it's not right that our neighbors here, I'm sorry, that's really cool. There's like a car on the water over there. So I don't want y'all to miss that because that's super fun, more so than this meeting. But so I do want to say, if you're going to seriously be talking about money we're spending on erosion, and I think this is an open check case, they're putting the money, that's what I'm saying, but You also need to be y'all need to be talking about and having a plan for the erosion and the drainage in the neighborhood that's causing detriment to the neighbors. And if Chuck can't handle it because he's too busy, then we need to have other people in place to do it. And we also, Chuck shouldn't be the be all and all of it. Chuck is an employee and it should be going through the office, not through Chuck. And I do not appreciate how he responds to neighbors on Town Square.
Amen.
But Fountain Pond, please hire professionals. Second of all, Fountainless Pond, yes. Fountainless Swamp is what it looks like half the time. And we've been more than patient. It's July. It's been out since May 2023. And then second of all, erosion and drainage. And instead of sending letters to your community, now, and I wish I could say 100% now we're using the city. We have people that are calling the city, calling neighborhood improvement services, filing with building code violations on our residents because they, don't have anything else to do, decide they want to take it into their own hands, go on the road. It was July 4th at 9 p.m. We have beautiful fireworks in the community. I don't know why they're doing that, but there is another side to that too, where we're now starting to harass people in their neighborhood versus staying within our neighborhood and doing things, because the office knows situations and the city doesn't. But for that.
All that said, coming from a financial strength place, we don't have these issues. We can spend the money when we need to spend the money and bring life back into this place so that we can celebrate in another 25 and 50 years the legacy that we're giving to the future. Let us not ruin everything on our way out of this neighborhood or this life or whatever and give crap to the future. That is essentially what we argue and fight about so often, is the choices over the last 2 and 3 decades that have put us in this place. And we need to finally get out of it by having better financial strength. Not piecing things out all the time, but being able to take care of our own, just like we should do in America. We should be able to take care of our own country. We should be able to take care of our own community. So it's very, very, it's time. It's time. If not now, when? If not, who?
The fountain's ordered and it should be in. I will tell you, Dixon Brothers had tried to fix the pond quite a few times, so that was hired help that tried to fix the pond, and they weren't able to do it, and we weren't going to give them another shot at it. We just were going to order another fountain. So it's ordered, it's paid for. Yeah, it should be able to go in. It's just waiting for it. I think it just needs to pick it up. I understand it's here. I don't know if we're missing a certain piece that's going to help put it all together. So if you need me to give you, I know we're going to put it out on Town Square as soon as it's ready to go.
Cool. Thank you.
So there's nothing that's trying to hold it up.
Well, you told me Chuck doesn't have time. I just heard Chuck doesn't have time to do all these things. So when he has time to put it in the house?
I talked to Chuck. He never said he didn't have time.
You just told this gentleman right here there's not time to clean the greenbelt. You have 35 tasks to do ahead.
She said that they were working on the
He
rebuild.
completed 35 tasks. He completed 35 work orders. And I didn't say he didn't have time to do stuff. He has a lot of stuff to do. I'm just saying give him time to get to the greenbelt. Okay, there was something else that I have a ton of water going in my backyard too. I think a lot of people got really affected by how much rain we had. Drainage is a huge issue, and I guess we're gonna have to take it on because we're the lower end too. So that is true about the rules. There's something else I wanted to address for you, and I'm trying to think of what it was.
Maybe 105 Thistle, in fact, my mother-in-law had gallons of water into her house on the street.
Or a letter from the
Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to look into that as a drainage issue too. But that's not what I wanted to address. There's something else.
Harassment.
Oh, yes, neighborhood improvement services, building page.
Oh, that's what I was gonna go for. I think at some point, if we kind of go back a little bit, probably about 6 to 8 months ago, this community was really in a predicament with money.
Yes.
And I do want to say I'm pretty proud of Andrea,
for working so hard on the budget and helping build these reserves that we do have. You're right, we do need to prioritize faster on getting things fixed. We do need to be careful about how much we spend, but we do need to start working on this infrastructure because it is a liability, and we really need to be proud of this community and start working on some things. So I would like to see us also work faster on getting some things fixed in this neighborhood.
To address a couple things. You're right, I was in a compliance tour a couple weeks ago. We've gotten a lot of complaints from our homeowners that this place has been looking pretty tight. So we are struggling with our current software with regard to getting compliance letters out, and we have been for months. And this is something that Sheila has really taken on and tried to get the links working with the water bill and all this stuff. She spends a lot of time on this. But as the weeks and months went by, and as the spring came, and we see dead plants and everything, I drive around quite a bit, and I thought this place looks like hell.
Yes.
And we need a compliance tour. So I wanted to see. I've never been on a compliance tour. I wanted to see how these gals in the front office did it. So I'm sitting driving, and Shelley's she's kind of explaining things. We'd stop and I'd say, well, what's your take on this one? So I learned a lot. And yes, we did write up a lot of dead, bare grass areas. And I'm well aware that it's, we had a lot of rain, and now we have a lot of dry heat. And a lot of folks, I'm sure, were very surprised by these letters. We've been trying to make these letters more pleasant, because I found it very offensive when I read some of them that were going out. There's really not a whole lot of consistency to which letters are being used. I got a bullet about consistency. So Virginia, and for those folks that are having drainage issues like you, I'm glad that we're hearing about this so we can address it. It's 14 days, 7 days. Our intent is not to necessarily start finding that until we know what the reason for some of these, not failures, but why people maybe are not able to or willing to take care of the yards and get things looking a little better. As far as this city violation thing goes, I'm a little concerned about this because I understand Rick, I think a couple months ago, one of the gals in the office showed me that somebody reported you, and now I'm hearing that somebody reported you folks. I don't know what it was for. But if there's other people that are getting these kinds of things from the city, I think maybe a couple board members need to go to the city and say, why are these coming in?
Yeah, when they came out and showed up at our doorstep at 9 a.m., they said that your HOA has called us out here. They said, your HOA has called us out here. And I said, how many people are being investigated like this? He's like, this isn't something we normally do, especially in Chandlers. We let you guys take care of it. But because your HOA called us, we're having to do this, and it's you and 2 other people. And he looked around and he's like, I don't know, man, I just have to do what I'm told. So he would not. We actually dug deeper on that and found out that you can do a Freedom of Information ask on it, but when it goes to the Attorney General, that people's names will be redacted. So, but one of the complaints, for sure, it came in at 9:09 p.m. on July 4th. That's when it was submitted to the city. So I'm going, which one of our neighbors, or board members, or which are also our neighbors, who is not enjoying fireworks, but instead thinking, you know what I need to do right now? I need to turn someone into the city.
Would you disclose what the offense that they were investigating was?
We didn't get a permit for a window that was replaced.
One window. One window that was so rotten, it was sunken out.
Someone was watching.
Someone in a white vehicle with round circles is taking pictures of our house because our daughter, round break white vehicles, our daughter saw her on Saturday taking another picture of our house in the evening. So someone obviously in the neighborhood is
going rogue.
I would love to see, like their vehicles are that they drive, but, you know, everyone knows what they drive, and if they have a wide vehicle with brown red lights, then, you know, you've been caught because you were seen taking photos of the sidewalks. I imagine it's because our really old lattice work that was broken when we moved in, we put some boards instead of lattice work. So maybe because we did that, and it hasn't been painted yet because, you know, there's a process to painting things. But, you know, and it's still in the grassland at this point, especially when we're doing work that is not fun to do when we plan to bump out the side of the house anyway, but we're being good neighbors. So I'm guessing we need a list. We need a list for neighbors to come in and say, hey, I can't do my yard until I do other things. And that way, so we're not doing these things, and no one should get a letter in the middle of July saying, replace your grass within 14 days. And we're on water restrictions.
Exactly.
Well, to be honest, that was a discussion that Sheila and I had. Say, hey, what are they gonna do?
There's lots of room for improvement.
You know, if you've got an area under the trees, it's not gonna grow, so.
Do we prioritize the grass or the trees? You want us to cut down the trees, or do we have the grass?
So I think that's something that management group and myself and all the other board members need to discuss. Because I agree, that is a bit of, that's unfair.
Hey, we have given you, except for this final estimate, which is the lowest of the three, we've given you, which Rick will get in the next day or two. On behalf of the tennis group, I'd like to ask that you give us a decision by this coming Friday. Now, I've done what I was asked to do, was to send you guys an email. I sent it 6 days ago in anticipation of this meeting, so that you would have the information that you needed to review in advance of this meeting to make a decision. Now, I don't know if you've read your email or not, but you need to.
We read the email, but I didn't, again, we read it back because we needed the 3 official bids, so that's what we were looking for.
Yeah, we don't have the 3 official bids yet because the third one just came in actually yesterday. So anyway, I'm asking if kindly to please give a decision by Friday. Now the other thing is, which one of those, in those packages, there's another situation that has happened, drainage above courts 2 and 3, which we're not even pushing that now, but it's something that needs to be fixed, and we're just hoping to get 6 and 7 done, because, you know, courts 2 and 3, they're just silt and water and shit collects there on part of the court, and we clean it off and we keep going. It's not damaged yet per se, but it could be. And so anyway, just please address this sooner than later.
I personally think Friday is reasonable. You guys think we can have a decision? I also believe that we should. I also believe we should be looking at that at the same time. That makes reasonable logic to me. And I like the fact that we've got the option to reduce the rent and get this thing paid out over, some time. I appreciate the tennis club offering that. That's very generous in my opinion. I probably will.
Yeah.
I think we got charges too.
Yeah, Mark Sturts, 5104 Yacht Club Drive. I have a question about the Yacht Club. Assuming the contract goes through and everything is agreed to, is there any kind of estimated timeline as to how long the club is going to be out of commission for repairs and whatnot? And also, what will that mean for board meetings and other community events?
I can answer that. James said that Eric Dyer, or Jordan told me, Eric Dyer, the chef, would like a whole month to train. But they'll do some mock dinners. They'll bring the residents in for that, or lunches. The kitchen, I think, reasonably will be done in about a week.
I would say probably 2 weeks would probably be able to do that, and the bar over here too, and maybe another week. So with that, and then trying to get it all scheduled and get the chef going, probably looking at anywhere from a month to 45 days.
Labor Day. I gave him a challenge for Labor Day.
Yeah.
So it was good.
We're doing
It would be great.
I think
That's right.
They said they want to be in here by football season. I don't know when.
That's August.
That's August. It's not right.
Where does that put us with any kind of new parking lot or drive down? Because with trying to do that, I mean, you've got one way down, how do you do that and then still have the club zone? I mean,
Yeah.
we
We're kind of looking at that too.
We've been getting bids on that as well.
Yeah. We're actually trying to get asphalt bids now, but we've got 3 concrete bids, and now we're trying to get asphalt bids, just to.
can't run that business and try to do that.
Yeah, correct. No, we're aware of that.
I just wanted to address the islands on Columbia and probably other islands. I was talking to the lady that plants flowers and do stuff. They're not being maintained in that. They're not being watered. I'm loading 20 gallons of water in the back of my car and going around to our islands and trying to water so they keep it alive. And they used to have a truck that would go around with pumps of water and do that. And all of our vegetation or plants are dying. So I know, it's summer and all that. And I know we don't live in Highland Park, but I think if all the neighbors could pitch in and do a few things like that, maybe we can save our islands. They're not mulching, they're not pulling weeds, they're not pulling out dead stuff.
Okay, I just like to ask one quick question. I'd like to know what kind of restaurant it would be, what kind of food it would be.
It's not American Grill.
American Bar Grill.
They just said American Bar and Grill. I mean, they gave us some mock menus that had some burgers, wings, and some nice steak and good fish. And so they gave us 2 different menus that had. It's not going to be upscale. It's not going to be just hopefully not just like a sport bar.
Are they gonna have anything gluten free?
I'm sure they'll cater to all. They want to, as a restaurant, they got to cater to their customers, so I'm sure they're going to do something along those lines.
When this thing gets rolling, will the restaurant, I think it's great for people to bring food to the pool, do whatever they want. It's, delivery, you can do what you want. You should be able to do events to take up for the restaurant. Are these guys gonna go down there and say, we really need to be buying this because
No, we've already talked to them, and they're working the 4 walls, we call this here, so they're inside. We're still allowed to bring alcohol and our food to the pool area.
I think they want.
Of course, they want you to come to my food.
well, I'm just making up a little bit for them because they're here to make money and please people, and you're gonna see some people.
So they're going to do the snack bar down here is where they're going to try to, and of course, it depends on logistics and service and all that, to employees. However, I mean, I'm pretty confident after talking with them that they're going to be where, if someone wants to bring their Happy Meal with their kids and come down here and eat, and then also go to the snack bar, but, mom wants to go upstairs and get a nice salad or something, then they're going to be able to cater to all that. And you still be able to have your tuna fish sandwich over here and eat. So.
I've got a question for Andrea. Andrea, is there any state law that requires us to have a specific amount of money in our reserve fund?
Not in Texas, from what I've seen, but once you commit funds to the reserve, they have to be spent on reserve capital type items, which I'm getting educated about that.
Okay.
A few weeks or so. This week I had a meeting with a PCAM regarding that.
Right.
And I've also had some prior to this, but I'm starting to realize I I need to educate the rest of the board members and get myself a little bit more. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. One other thing. How about in the contract or discussions with the restaurant people? Any talk about us redoing the road coming down to Chandlers or the parking lot? Has that been discussed with them?
It's been discussed with them, but it's not gonna make or break the deal.
Right.
It's not their responsibility, and they're not going to
not do the deal because of it, so.
So going forward, it seems like if it's not in the contract, we're responsible, correct?
Yeah, we're 100% responsible for the roads. Not only that, we talk about the driveway coming down, but I think what a bigger liability is this parking lot right now. To me, that's a little bit more of a higher priority than the drive down. It's all a priority, don't get me wrong, but the parking lot more is a huge hazard right now.
And also,
we need more lighting in there, for example, as y'all see tonight in the parking lot, so there's gonna be some
also
things.
too, maybe it could be prioritized. It seems like the parking lot closest to the building seems worse than the parking lot farther.
Yeah, so that's, we decided also to split up our bids, to not just be the drive down and the parking lot, we're actually, this bottom area is gonna be a third bid, so we wanna, or not third bid, a third section of the bid, so we wanna get 3 bids for concrete and asphalt for parking lot, drive down, lower area, and bring it up. So we have been discussing that, we've been getting bids and going that, so we're very close to pull the trigger on that as well.
Sounds good.
Could I say something? Thank y'all for staying. I mean,
Yeah,
I know
thank
it's been a difficult time, but thank y'all for staying. I think it was very rude of people.
I just have one thing to say, well, 2 things to say. The lady back there, we went to the restaurant, Christie's, very good. It's better than the average sports bar. Christie's, it's very good. Lots of things on the menu, you all that.
Nah, I gotta say that, so Christie's is not involved in this. Everyone, I wanna make it clear that Christie's is not involved, the owners of Christie's were not involved. Jordan was a bar manager who became partial owner after COVID when the son of Christie's asked to, he's the son of Christie's, I forgot his name right now, I'm trying to think. But he's the one who came back and asked him and Jordan started to open Christie's again on McKinney Avenue, on Lower Ringgold way than from McKinney Avenue. So, again, Jordan is a partial owner. The other owner was James Hoffman from ARC, and this is where Andre and I kind of had a little bit of, where we're concerned and agreement on is that Jackie and I have asked, Jackie from the Falcon Group, have asked for financials, restaurant financials, from Jordan and from James, and we were never provided financials. We were provided a James personal financials, but I was never able to get a financials for any of the restaurants he owned. When I asked about the 14 restaurants he owned to show proof of any of them, what he was partners with, I never got any proof. All I got was 5 names of 5 restaurants that I went and looked up. And I did, when I have people in the restaurant industry, I went and looked up all their restaurants. They're from Arizona to we have some in Dallas and whatnot. The point is that this is not Christie's Group. I want to make sure that everyone is clear that this is not Christie's Group. This is RH Group that is forming a new hospitality group that is 2 partners that are coming together from 2 different restaurants. So it's one of my concerns because, can they provide a product like Christie's or some of the fine dining that I've worked for in my past, or are we going to have a sports bar here? I don't know if y'all came over to Dudley's, and it's a clean sports bar. But would a sports bar survive in Chandlers? I'm not so sure. It's more of a American bar and grill or American grill restaurant that has a little bit of kind of a family atmosphere. Caters to the kids, caters to your gluten-free, and to having a fine fish here, a fine steak here, but also be able to get a chicken sandwich if I want, some buffalo wings or whatever, right? So it's going to, for a restaurant to really work here, it's going to take the right amount of right service and the right thing to fit in here. And I'm hoping that these two guys, with their success in their other restaurants, can bring a product in here to do that. But that is one of our concerns, because we would never provide even proof that even own any of these restaurants in Hopkins, and we have to go off of the personal financials, which were acceptable, but not what I would do, you know, or provide if I was in the restaurant industry business.
Wow, I did not know that. I thought it was all about Christie's at this point. Nope.
A lot of people do. And that's why I've said for months I've been doing my research and trying to explain to the residents that this is not Christie's, this is not it's not just like turn the switch and they're gonna come in. And so that's why I wanted to do my due diligence and have done my research as well too. I mean, I know I can give you the names of the restaurants that I have, 5 that they gave me, and go on the websites and go look them up yourselves too to see. So to take those and hopefully come in with a product that they can provide for us for a family atmosphere and become maybe like standard service down here, I'm hoping that's what they can build off of.
But we weren't told
Because they can pull
what reality was.
any of their employees from other properties and fill this place. So
could.
it's actually a good thing.
Yeah.
Because in a land use culture, I can't take from Del Frisco's and come help you without fear of overtime and that kind of thing. So it's actually a good thing that they're throwing around.
Okay, I trust your judgment.
It's good.
Okay, and I just have one thing. We turned in a receipt for the damage done after this big storm in May. We had $23,000 worth of damage. 4 huge trees destroyed, and I've talked to y'all about that. But one of the trees came off of the greenbelts. It did the most damage. But I didn't even turn that in. All I turned in was to get that tree removed because we couldn't do anything until we got off the deck to get the, yeah. So I turned, it's like, I think $1,500 or something like that. But I haven't heard anything from anybody. I just wondered, did you get that? Anybody?
I saw that upstairs.
You saw it?
Yes, I saw
Okay, so I was just wondering, what,
Did you submit it on
much
Town
money
Square? Is that
considered.
what you did? Did you submit a ticket on Town Square? Is that what you did?
I didn't put it on.
You didn't put it on council?
No, I did not put it on. I just gave it to y'all.
Did you submit it to the office? How did you submit it?
The office, I sent it as an email.
As an email to the office too?
Yes, with an attachment.
So that go to Shelby?
Why did I see it?
It was an HOA, Chandlers.
Yeah. I can send it again. I don't know, maybe if I just have a printed copy of it and send it to the office.